I'm gonna make what I hope is a pretty reasonable assumption that if you clicked on a video about someone soloing Red and Blue with a Dragonair, you know a little bit about Pokemon. Well, let me ask you this question. What is the strongest pure dragon Pokemon as of the 4th generation? Obviously, there's Pokemon like Dragonite that have dragon plus something else, but in terms of just dragon, yeah, it's Dragonair and Shelgon. Eventually, Haxorus in Generation 5. Do you know there's only 14 pure dragon Pokemon? There's like 1,000 whatever Pokemon, only 14 are pure dragon. That is nuts. In my mind, if you've ever played Shin Megami Tensei or Persona, Dragon is cut from the same cloth as the almighty type in those games. A type that has no real weaknesses, but doesn't have any direct strengths. And in fact, the users of that type typically have to resort to moves of all the other types. Obviously, as time went on, Dragon would change, but I think it's pretty fair to say in Generation 1, that's the role they probably saw it playing. So I'm sure you're wondering, because you clicked on this video, how does a Pokemon like that has no other type, perform? Well, we did Dratini, but that was a pre-evolved Pokemon, and it went pretty poorly. One of my more frustrating runs. Dragonair is very similar to Dratini, but its 70 base stat average isn't bad, honestly. It also has a reasonably deep move pool, lots of move diversity. I think there are a lot of things we can do, and it even has a badge boost move like Agility. There are things to work with here. I'm kind of curious how Dragonair is going to do relative to the other middle forms, of which we have done 2, and also relative to Dratini and Dragonite. I think it'll be interesting. Unfortunately, one huge obstacle right off the bat, and this is just so common in Generation 1, is Brock. There are no TMs before Brock, as always. And although Wrap, as you're going to see, is very cheap, I don't think it's going to beat Brock as quickly as we'd like. And sadly, Dragonair does not get any additional starting moves. Well, it gets Thunder Wave, but I should say any additional starting moves that actually can be used against Brock. Alright, that's a lot more preamble than I usually do, so let's get to Brock. But first, I have to give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Boot.dev. If you want to learn backend web development from start to finish in many languages such as Python, Go, Boot.dev is right for you. So right now, I'm making my way through the Python course. I'm actually really close to being done. And I gotta tell you, as someone who has no natural knack for coding or anything, after all these times I've used Boot.dev, I really feel like I'm starting to make progress. There are times, unfortunately, where I just don't know what exactly I'm supposed to do, and thankfully, there's this useful AI bot called Boots, and rather than just give me the answer, I can just ask it questions and try and figure it out on my own, although I also can just look at the answer. I'm gonna be honest, it got to a point where I really felt like I was understanding Python and doing the assignments really quickly. It really helped. And that's a really good thing about Boot.dev because there's this interactive element. I'm not just reading a bunch of information, I'm actually doing things so I'm not bored. I actually am writing a ton of code. And once I get the basics, there actually are modules where I can build real projects, including a Pokedex. That's one that I really want to check out. I don't know if I'm ready yet. I'm going to continue with the Python for now, but I'm definitely going to get to that. Now, if you go to Boot.dev right now, you can try out the courses for free, but if you want the interactive element, then good news, you can use my code JROSE11. That will give you access to the amazing interactive parts, and you can get 25% off your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. Okay, so first things first, I'm at level 9, and there is an important reason for this. Dragonair is in the slow level up group, meaning it takes more experience points for it to get from one level to another than pretty much every other Pokemon in the game. I mean, technically that's true. I think it's the top 10 Pokemon, their evolutionary lines or something, but point is, there aren't too many of these, and unfortunately, Dragonair is one of them, and that hurts. I believe if Dragonair was in the same level up group as Squirtle, it would have probably been at level 12 by now, but it gets worse. Dragonair's only attacking move is Wrap. Now, Wrap is very cheap. When I'm using it, if I outspeed, in theory, my opponent will never be able to attack me. You can see why this move was dramatically altered from this point forward, but in Gen 1, it is super cheap. There are two major issues with it. Number one, it has only 85 accuracy. Number 2, well, actually, there's 3 issues, but the one I was referring to is it's slow. I mean, look as I try to knock out this Weedle, how many hits it takes. And now this Kakuna, how many hits it takes. It just takes forever to knock out anything, and you get these misses. Very, very, very frustrating. And so you combine that with the fact that I already level up slowly, and you can see why expecting Dragonair to be anything but mediocre would maybe be a little too much to ask. The other problem, by the way, as we're about to get to another battle with Brock, is that it only has 20 power points. And that's why I reset the Brock battle you saw way earlier, because there's just simply no way with just 20 power points, even though every wrap hit is just 1. So, for example, against this Kakuna, that's 1. That's a miss, so that's 2. That's 3. But yeah, it still adds up, right? Like, even though it can hit up to 5 times, it adds up. Unfortunately, it takes quite a long time. I have to go all the way up to level 13. You'll notice I use a Leer first. Actually, I'm trying to use 2 Leers. I have to have Geodude not use Defense Curl, and it is not cooperating. The more I use... Alright, well, it's too late now. I would do 2 damage per turn instead of 1, and that would conserve my power points. And actually, you can see that... well, I was getting it for a little bit there, but... yeah, it's just a matter of wrap working or not. I knock out the Geodude with 27 HP, but more importantly, I have 12 power points. I like the Onix using Bide right away. I go for Leer, but you can see, still, even with all those Leers, doesn't make a difference. I should have waited for another Bide. Fun fact about Bide, it's weird in Generation 1. If you guys watched my Wobbuffet run, which is either yesterday or it hasn't come out yet, depending on when these videos release, so potential spoiler alert. But yeah, moves that deal back based on the damage you do are weird in Pokemon. Bide doesn't even exist anymore. And as I save in front of the trainer, it took an hour to get past this part. That is a significant time investment. A Pokemon with Water Gun, for example, could get by the same part in about 12 minutes-ish. So that is a massive deficit for Dragonair. I don't know if it's going to be able to overcome it, but let's see. Something that could really help is if I could beat Misty here. Because if I can beat Misty, then I have Bubble Beam, and Bubble Beam is a much quicker move than Wrap, even if it's not nearly as cheap. I also go for Thunder Wave. I think that might be the first time I've used it in a run, but Thunder Wave is key because we can go for really cheap Leer, Thunder Wave, Wrap strats. Unfortunately, as we discussed, Wrap only works as well as the accuracy it has, which is 85%. But although it didn't work that time, in my very next battle, I do actually get the strategy to work out very well, in fact. I have 28 HP to spare. So, Wrap, Thunder Wave, Leer. This seems like a very intentional combo. Wow, I'm really struggling with the door there. But yeah, you can see what they were thinking here with this set, being the first 3 moves that Dratini and Dragonair learn. Unfortunately for our purposes, it's just too slow and too inconsistent. So we're going to immediately teach Bubble Beam, and we're going to use that for as much as we can. And that brings us right to the Rival 2 battle. I get a really clutch Bubble Beam crit and an even clutcher Sand Attack miss. It's going to be a 3-shot. It crits me too, but that's okay. Now Abra comes out, and I think about it. I'm going to go for Wrap here. It takes 2 Wraps and I don't miss. I then accidentally go for Wrap against Rattata. Bubble Beam is a 2-shot. Don't forget, I'm only base 70 in Special. And then Squirtle, I have to go back for Wrap and Tail Whip strats. You may have noticed that Wrap critted. Something you may or may not know is that in Generation 1, when the first turn of a multi-turn move crits, every subsequent move will crit. That was a first try victory against Rival 2. Very good. And now we just have to, see, we're not knocking it out. And I did reset for a decent one. So we're not quite doing the damage we need to do. Things are speeding up a bit, but having to use Wrap for the first Gym Plus is tough. I will teach Agility over Thunder Wave since it's just better. Sure, Thunder Wave, it might not be able to attack me, but Agility does badge boosting, which is super great. And increasing my own stats since I'm only using 1 Pokemon affects the entire battle versus just 1 Pokemon like it did for Staryu and Starmie. So I'm at level 20, I'm going to go heal, and we're going to pick it back up in a few minutes on the SSN. Well, actually for you guys, it was not even any time because I can just do editing, or actually Sean can do editing. Anyway, by the time we're on the SSN, we get Body Slam, which Dragonair can learn, and Dragonair does have base 81 attack, which is fairly decent in Generation 1. It is still a 2-shot for both Pidgeotto and Raticate, and Wartortle, it's a 3-shot. If you're wondering why Wartortle, the Bubble Beam, actually, that is annoying, but the real reason is that the final Blastoise gets Blizzard, so it is just objectively the best final Pokemon against Dragonair. Although, let's face it, Dragonair with its crazy move pool, not a single one of the final Pokemon is going to have a good matchup against me. The question is just how long it takes me to get there, but I have a feeling once I do, things are going to be great. Okay, so now I have to make a decision. Do I want to fight Ensign Surge? Well, I decide might as well. So there's a bunch of Fire Red and Leaf Green videos I've been working on that hopefully will come out relatively soon. And this puzzle is way more, I wouldn't say complicated, but it's just so much simpler in this game. And there's a mandatory trainer in Fire Red Leaf Green. I like this gym so much better. Also, Surge sucks. So let's see if we can beat him. We're at half HP, so that might not be good, but that crit will help. Level 25, 31. We might do this. Thunderbolt, Body Slam, Thundershock. Oh yeah. That's how bad Surge is. That's just how awful he is. We are at half HP, and we were able to just obliterate it. Also, you'll notice I didn't have a Paris. Sometimes I just don't find one. If you notice, in like, I would say 98% of the Gen 1 runs, I have a Paris for both Cut and Dig. But because I just couldn't find one in time, I had to do the backup of Oddish plus a Diglett, which isn't that bad. In fact, the one great thing about Diglett is if I have a Pokemon that learns Dig, which Dragonair isn't, I have a Dig Pokemon for the entire run. But like I said, non-issue here, and we're going to move on quite a bit. I know you guys love the Hiker, but with Bubble Beam, it wasn't actually a battle worth showing. So we're going to actually fast forward all the way to Celadon City and battle Giovanni 1, who also isn't that difficult, but I show those battles because, I don't know, tradition, I guess? Now, you'll notice when we battle Giovanni number 2, just how low a level we're at. We wouldn't even be able to evolve Dragonair if it were like a standard starter Pokemon. It's only level 30, and this is pretty atypical, which is something I think about a lot, just how slow the slow level up group is. It was very easy other than Kangaskhan, and theoretically Kangaskhan could have been tougher, but we're gonna have issues going forward where we're not gonna be the level we need to be, and it's gonna catch up to us. I would guess Rival Fivel is where it really starts to catch up to us, but that point is coming very soon. Trust me. Now, this is kind of uncommon, but Erica was fairly easy to beat. Erica has good AI, and because I'm Dragon type, she won't use her grass moves, and from the Mart, we're able to get Ice Beam. So it was very, very simple to beat her 3 grass Pokemon. We gain useful experience points, and I don't have to worry about forgetting this one later, which is good because it happens all the time. My guess would be this is going to be the last free easy battle. We're still a little bit over leveled. We have Ice Beam, we have Thunderbolt, and we have Body Slam. So we don't have a super effective move against Growlithe, but it doesn't matter. We do have super effective moves against 3 of the other 5 Pokemon, which is fine. Kadabra wasn't too difficult anyway. And after we get through the Pokemon Tower, we're going to move on to the second half of the game, where in theory we could teach Surf, although I don't think I'm going to do that. I think Ice Beam Thunderbolt is what I want to use here. Honestly, neither Koga nor Rival Fivel seem like they're going to be great candidates, and there aren't a lot of mandatory battles, although I can battle extra trainers, which I might have to do. What do I do, and how's it going to go? Well, Dragonair is well over Mewtwo's time as we save in front of Koga, and we're 3 levels under-leveled. It's going to be a 3-shot versus just the coughing, which isn't a great sign. We can learn Slam, a move that just is worse Body Slam. It's going to be, oh, I don't even know how many. Oh, wow. This is not going to work. Sludge obliterated me, and non-same type, only 70 base stats and special, Thunderbolt is not going to do it here. So I don't know. I think we're going to have to level up a little bit. I feel like we've hit a bit of a rut, because I don't think Rival Fivel is going to be any easier than this, right? Well, I battled a couple extra trainers, but I thought I might as well check. I'm at level 35. So I go for Agility, literally because I want to outspeed. I know, rare, I'm using the move for its intended purpose. And we two-shot, which is good. Growlithe, oh god, that crit's gonna hurt. I'm at 34. Ice Beam, oh wow, Gen 1 miss. And it's not a one-shot. We can knock out Execute here. Alakazam, Body Slam, oh, that's a nice crit. Are we gonna win? Thunderbolt? Bite? I can't believe it. That's crazy. All right, well, that was, wow. And we got a Gen 1 miss. Oh my god. Okay, so I guess I was wrong. I'll admit, very wrong. Rival Fivel was very easy, and I'm gonna save. Yeah, you betcha I'm gonna save. Cutting ahead to Geo 2. He wasn't too bad either. A mixture of using physical moves and special moves. I don't know. There's really not much going on here. Giovanni, number 2, in this game, the Pokemon rarely use their best attacks and have bad movesets, so we're able to gain some useful levels. The question is, did we do enough in order to make Koga consistent? And the truth is, we could theoretically battle Sabrina first. Very rarely do I do Sabrina then Koga, but it is an option. Ultimately, that did not prove necessary. I now, at level 38, was able to two-shot Coughing, which is very nice. Against Muck, Minimize, thankfully doesn't evade too much. There is no combo with Body Slam, it's Stomp, and that's Generation 2. And I'm able to two-shot Coughing. Now, just don't self-destruct and we're going to be fine here. And, okay, well, we'll be fine if I get both the freeze and then a crit. Although in Generation 1, by the way, you can't unfreeze. That's fine. I mean, whatever. That works enough for me. The truth is, past Gyros definitely would have reset there. But if there's going to be an issue with this run, it's going to come at the end anyway. So if I avoided leveling now, it's just going to mean I have to level later. And I know I'm going to have to, so getting a quick Koga victory there really doesn't change much, if you ask me. And I do a lot of these, so my opinion, I think, matters. Now, I think I probably should have battled Sabrina, but I do like beating Blaine. I am at the same level as Growlithe, and I'm going to try to go for triple agility and then Body Slam. I will outspeed, and I do a little bit more with Body Slam. It's enough to force Growlithe to heal, and then I knock it out. Ponyta, same exact thing. Wow, that's pretty good. Rapidash, I get a Growl against me, which sucks, but then I switch to Thunderbolt, and I'm able to knock it out in 3 hits. Against Arcanine, you can see how little Body Slam does now. I don't get the Paralysis either, and I have to swap, but funny enough, when I do swap to Thunderbolt, I get the Paralysis that way. Way less likely. Arcanine goes for Takedown. It's almost doing, yeah, more damage to itself than I did to it. I'll try one more time, and this time things go a little bit, honestly, kind of the same. But then against Arcanine, I get a little bit better luck where it doesn't get a crit against me, and although it takes a few turns, think 5, I'm able to knock it out with Thunderbolt. And now when I use Agility, I'm going to be getting a slight boost to all my statistics, actually, but Blaine enabled the boost to Special, which should help me defensively versus Sabrina, and offensively throughout the rest of this run. Without Agility, Dragonair would probably be a lot worse off than it really is. The ability to boost our stats beyond what the game intended, although maybe they did intend the badge boost mechanic. Who knows? Who's to say? I'm kidding. But as I've said in a few of my videos, because I legitimately do need to outspeed using Agility, just ignoring the badge boost or trying to, like, create some weird arbitrary system is just silly. At the end of the day, just use stat moves. They're going to boost and just manage level ups. It's part of the strategy. We haven't dealt with that yet. One of the positives about being in the slow level up group, we don't have to worry about leveling up too much and ruining our badge boosts. All right, well, by this point, Sabrina's going to be kind of easy. I don't even bother setting up agilities. Just go for Body Slam. Mr. Mime's kind of annoying with Barrier, but we're fine. Venomoth, thankfully, just goes for Leech Life. And now Alakazam, it does outspeed, so agility probably would have been fine, but the Paralysis, 2-shot, everything is great. I am very under-leveled at level 43. I only have 1 gym left, and it's Giovanni 3's gym. In theory, I maybe should battle some of the trainers here, because Dragon Knight struggled with the Elite Four. I don't know how Dragonair is really going to do. It's ultimately just a worse version of it. That said, I opt to barely battle any additional trainers and just go on through. I then get a badge boost from Agility, one from Tail Whip. Yeah, the opponent can badge boost me too. It's kind of nuts. But I do also outspeed the Doug Trio, which is pretty good. Crits, by the way, ignore badge boost, but see that level up? They're gone now, so Ice Beam is not going to one-shot Nidoking, and the negative effect of the Tail Whip still impacting me. Rhydon theoretically could have knocked me out, but Giovanni is just a bro, I guess. And so he doesn't do that. And we have beaten the entirety of the Kanto region with just a Dragonair. Joy, but y'all know that, in fact, the real run has just begun. Most of the time losses we have is trying to level up, figure out some sort of strategy for these last 6 battles. Rival 6 plus the Elite 5, I guess. Dragonair being Dragon type will help a little bit with manipulating what moves my opponents use, but not to the same degree as other Pokemon. We're just going to have to kind of be better, and as underleveled as we are, I don't know how possible that is, but hey, only one way to find out. Alright, so against Pidgeot, I'm just going to go for Agility. Whirlwind's great. Just go for 3, see what happens. Now, it's spamming Agility, which it doesn't have to do. I am now swapped to Blizzard because it is a more powerful move with 90 accuracy. I'm able to one-shot both Pidgeot as well as Rhyhorn. Against Growlithe, I go for Body Slam, and it also goes for Agility. But then I get the level up. Blizzard does still knock out Execute. However, yeah, see, the Body Slam only does just about half. Psybeam does quite a lot, and then it doesn't knock out Alakazam. I was worried about that. Then we get a Gen 1 miss, then Reflect, which is just awful. But we get a double Reflect, which is weird. I swapped to Thunderbolt, which I actually think was a mistake, but I get a crit. And now against Blastoise, it has Bite. And wow, that was low roll, high roll. Holy mackerel. I didn't think we were two-shotting that. Crazy. So that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Dragonair is actually doing quite well, TBH. But Lorelee has ice moves. And Agatha's going to be horrendous as per usual. And Lance should be fine, honestly. We have an ice move. Lance will actually be pretty easy. The champ's probably going to be not the best, but maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong about a couple things in this run. All right, so first, let's try without rare candies. Probably a huge mistake. I'm going to go Agility and then Aurora Beam. Yeah, it's not going to work. It does like to go for Rest turn 2, and I know that. And I tried to take advantage, but like, yeah. So the reason, by the way, I go for Agility is to reduce the damage of Aurora Beam. It actually isn't a dumb idea, but if it still does over half, then yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking there. But with the rare candies, we're actually going to get rid of Body Slam and use a move that otherwise we wouldn't have to use. Also, finally, Dragonair can evolve. I hate having to press B. One nice thing about Dragonair, no need to do that. But in case we have to level up again, I'm not going to save. So now at level 58, I just go for Thunderbolt. It goes for Aurora Beam, and I knock it out. Cloyster's special is kind of low, and so I'm able to knock it out. Slowbro, I go for Thunderbolt. It goes for Water Gun. All right. Hyper Beam sucks in other games, but in Gen 1, for whatever reason, and I don't know why this is, if you knock out a Pokemon using Hyper Beam, you don't have to recharge. Very cheap. And Blizzard then missed. Wow, twice. Okay, so just so you know, that's a 1% chance. Like, literally 1%. I just want to see how the rest of the battle goes, to be honest with you. We're not going to win here. If we do, I'll not feel the best. Anyway, Bruno's pretty easy. His fighting Pokemon are a little bit tougher in Gen 3, where their special defense is actually really good. But in Gen 1, their special is so low, they're just so easy to beat. Thankfully, although I rarely use all of them, I have tons of Ethers and Elixirs. There's a lot of them in Red and Blue. And so we can use really low power point moves like Hyper Beam and Blizzard and have plenty for each battle. But this is the battle I am most concerned with. Also, this Calcium, by the way, I'm maxed, so I can't use it. And yeah, so this is where I think the run is really going to stall out. So I don't have a great move. All I have is really Blizzard, I guess. And it outspeeds anyway. And Blizzard's going to be a 3-shot. So I have to swap between that and Thunderbolt. And before I even knock out the first Gengar, it just knocked me out quickly. Now, that was good luck on Agatha's part, but it just goes to show you I'm not close. Like, what, 3 hits? That's not going to happen. So let's do a little bit of training before we challenge the Elite Four again. So after battling a bunch of trainers, I'm at level 64. I may have overdid it slightly, TBH. I'm hoping that there's still going to be a loss here. It's always tough because the more you go back and forth, the more time you bleed. And that Gengar felt so inconsistent. But first things first, I do need to get past Lorelie. We needed a 1% chance last time. This time, we don't need that whatsoever. So we can just skip ahead to Agatha. No need to even talk about Bruno. All right, so now Gengar comes out. I'm going to go for, let's go Blizzard. Oh, we got a Freeze. Interesting. And now we one-shot. I'm going to go now Agility. All right, well, I think this is going to be a victory. We've maxed Badge Boost. I think Blizzard... Oh, I went for Thunderbolt. That's okay. It's 2-shotting. And then Arbok, you know what? That's fine. It's going to 2-shot. And then it's going to 2-shot with Blizzard. Clean. Very clean battle. All right, well, now we're on to Lance. And I think at this level, we're just going to destroy him. We have, like, the perfect team for Lance. I don't even know if I need to set up. I can just go Thunderbolt and then Blizzard. Take that, other Dragonair. I level up here, another Blizzard, and then Thunderbolt. Oh, it outsped me, so that was bad. And then Blizzard. Okay, so this is the first time I've made it to the champion. Agatha was the one I was most worried about, but like I said, this Blastoise does, in fact, have Blizzard. And we're going to level up in 8,000 experience points. Difficult to get badge boosts off. All right, let's see how this goes. Okay, so do we one-shot... I'm just going to go Agility here. Okay, maybe that was greedy. Thunderbolts. Ooh, no. But it went for Whirlwind. Lucky, lucky. I'm going to go Hyper Beam here. Nice animation and nice one-shot. Now I have to go for Blizzard. I'd love to set up, but I'm going to level up after Arcanine. I go for Hyper Beam. It misses. It can do that, but then it misses with Leer. I go for Hyper Beam. It doesn't knock it out. And because of that, I now can't attack. Leer misses. I have to recharge. Takedown misses. What is going on with the luck? We level up here. I'm going to go for Agility. Barrage. Perfect. It doesn't have to go for Hypnosis. Now we have +2. Blizzard, of course, misses. But thankfully, so does Hypnosis. Stomp does hit. So I'm at 126. Blizzard and Hypnosis misses. I think we got this, guys. Let's see. Thunderbolt. Not knockout. No, 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 no. Oh, just enough. Just enough. We may have leveled it up 1 level too many, but in the end, that training investment worked out really well. I actually thought Agatha would be a lot tougher. That freeze really, really helped me, but Agatha is pretty lucky anyway. You're always going to get luck when it comes to her. In the end, Dragonair ended up finishing at level 67, but with a pretty abysmal time of 544. Wrap plays a huge part of that, and its struggles with Brock. Consider, like we talked about, it was about 45 minutes in the hole just because of that. And if you compare it, to be fair, for the record, if you compare it to pre-evolved Pokemon, which isn't really fair, it would rank just outside the top 10. But if you compare it to fully evolved Pokemon, honestly, it's not that bad. I mean, it's right there with Pokemon like Rhydon, another Pokemon in the slow experience group, Executor, another Pokemon in the slow experience group, and Beedrill, which has similar base statistics. Honestly, it's kind of funny after all these years, if you just look at the various factors, experience group, trouble with Brock, you can kind of tell where a Pokemon is going to be. Well, usually, actually, sometimes I still get it really wrong, which is why doing these runs is so fun. And if you like this run, especially because it was a middle evolution, be sure to, you know, make a nice comment and stuff. I get worried about these Pokemon. I mean, let's face it, very few people's favorite Pokemon is a middle evolution. I mean, it's not like someone would make a middle evolution their mascot or something, but joking aside, we do have a lot of these to get through, and I'm considering maybe combining some of them, or, I don't know, giving them our own video. We'll see what I do. But until then, I have so many videos to come out, and I have to get to work on them. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye.